Hey guys. It's a bit late for me and I'll be going to bed now, but I just want to let you all know that I will have my reviews for One Battle After Another, The Smashing Machine and more up in the coming days. So look forward to that. Before I head to bed though, I just wanted to put out an important call to the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger, regarding some recent developments and some future developments that I'm hoping that he will listen to, trying to, how should I say this, trying to get taken care of before it's too late. But first off, I want to say, Bob Iger, thank you for listening to people who, let's just say, did not really take kindly to your recent actions regarding Jimmy Kimmel. And I don't know if it was financially motivated that made you reconsider or what, but regardless, I'm glad you decided to put Jimmy Kimmel Live back on ABC, and risk your two pending deals from not happening, because it takes guts to realize you were wrong. And I can think about how it took you longer to figure that out when it came to firing James Gunn prematurely and other things. But I'm thankful that you put Jimmy Kimmel back on, and I'm grateful that you will have ended up making the right choice in the end to put him back on. Even though I don't envy you having to go through the lawsuits your shareholders now have on you, and I hope that you will act accordingly and not allow your any refusal to happen. Otherwise, you could be in more serious trouble than it looks like you might be now. So just keep that in mind, and good luck with that. Now, this is what I really want to talk to you about. First off, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You really need to be more flexible with the release dates for some of your upcoming films coming out. Because right now, today, I just got word that Sony Pictures Animation has now moved up the release date of Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse by 1 week to June 18th, 2027, which happens to be the date of another movie of yours that Disney and Pixar will be releasing in theaters, and that's their new original film called Gatto. I gotta be honest, Disney, Bob Iger, you really are being a bit stubborn with your release dates here again, and I'm kind of hoping that you can, how should I say this, make considerations for switching around some dates for your upcoming films. Now, when it comes to Pixar's Gatto, what I would suggest you do is that maybe you move up Gatto by 3 weeks to come out in Memorial Day weekend 2027 on Friday, May 28th. And move Star Wars Starfighter out of that weekend and into July 23rd, 2027. Now, I'm sure you'll wonder, are we sure this should work? I don't know. Well, let me explain this. Pixar has had two theatrical releases come out in May that were successful with an average of each 100 million globally. The first one being Finding Nemo in 2003, and the second one being Pixar's 10th film, Up, in 2009. Now, and I think that's a good reasoning for why you should, and I hope that you do move Pixar's Gatto up to May 28th, 2027, because this is an important film for Pixar that's already coming out the year after their 40th anniversary next year. And I really want an original Pixar film, to finally be a box office hit, undisputably, and to kind of show that people do want more original films from Pixar Animation Studios, provided that you market them actively and correctly, which I hope you're doing with this film and the film coming out before that next March, to ring in the year of Pixar's 40th anniversary before Toy Story 5 does that next June, and that would be Pixar's 30th feature film, Hoppers, which comes out in March. Which I'm also hoping you move to March 13th, 2026, just by a week, because, let's face it, horror's like the hot ticket right now, and considering that Maggie Gyllenhaal's remake of The Bride of Frankenstein for Warner Brothers, which comes out the same weekend as Hoppers right now, looks creatively juicy. I don't think Hoppers stands a chance unless you move it back by a week, just so it can be able to have more breathing room from Sony Pictures Animation's GOAT, and just 3 weeks to itself before the Super Mario Galaxy movie comes out. Plus, if you move it to March 13th, you'll be able to give it a week in IMAX, along with Real D 3D and Dolby Cinema screens. So hoping you do that. And also, regarding Star Wars Starfighter, The reason I would suggest moving that from May 28th, 2027 to July 23rd, 2027 is because A, it'll ring in the weekend of Comic-Con, and B, Sean Levy's movies tend to do more box office legs, like 3 times or more of their opening weekend in July or August, as we saw with Deadpool and Wolverine last year and Free Guy in 2021. Now, I know people say you have a tendency to stick to May or December when it comes to anniversaries of Star Wars, when it came to The Last Jedi in December 2017, and now Star Wars Starfighter so far in May for the 50th anniversary. But you got to be a bit experimental. I mean, not for nothing, but July 23rd, 2027, with a couple weeks before Bluey, is really no different than keeping it in May, because it was only probably going to get IMAX for 2 weeks anyway before films like How to Train Your Dragon 2, the live-action remake, which I really don't want to see and I don't plan to, and Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse take the screen. So that's why I think it's better if you switch those dates and have Pixar's Gatto take the Memorial Day 2027 weekend slot instead, and have Star Wars Starfighter come out on July 23rd instead of 2027. So I'm hoping that you consider that. Plus, it'll give Star Wars Starfighter more time to be marketed, because I don't think 5 months will be enough time to market that film if we have a trailer with Avengers Doomsday, but then we have to wait until Star Celebration in April for the final trailer. Like, just move it to July. Like, you'll have more time to market it. Like, you'll probably get like the next trailer in front of The Legend of Zelda, and maybe a final trailer in front of Spider-Verse or How to Train Your Dragon 2 in June. Plus, like I said, Pixar's Gatto is probably more deserving of the Memorial Day slot of 2027, just so that film can have a good shot at being a hit. And speaking of Star Wars, I did like the trailer for The Mandalorian Grogu. I thought it was good, but the footage but the Celebration Japan / Destination D23 convention exclusive trailer was better. So I'm hoping that, considering this trailer is a bit mixedly received, I'm hoping that you do much better with the next trailer, which I hope you either save for Avatar or with the Super Bowl in February. And I suggest the Super Bowl just because spectators in the arena cheering on Rod of the Hutt kind of fits with spectators cheering on the Super Bowl for teams to win. So just keep that in mind. Because I do believe this film can be a hit. Not $1 billion like Moana 2 and Lilo and Stitch did, which you were right to turn from Disney Plus releases to theatrical releases. But like this, you got to really take seriously, because I really want this film to succeed, and so that Dave Filoni can get his Mandalorian timeline storyline wrapping up movie made for a theatrical release in 2029, because that movie means a lot to me, knowing The Apprentice of George Lucas has a chance to really make a successful Star Wars film for theaters, and I really don't want that to not happen if you can't market The Mandalorian Grogu better in the coming months and make sure that film is successful. So just try to make sure that you improve the marketing in the coming months, and make sure that film can at least make $500 million worldwide on a $166 million budget, because I'm really rooting for that film to defy odds of its haters and be a hit. And also, please fix the color grading as well, because you have 8 months and still early, but like, the color grading needs to be fixed. And I'm really tired of hearing, like, at least Marvel Studios has kind of fixed this problem going forward, but like with The Mandalorian Grogu, I'm hoping that you can fix the color grading with that film, because at least Dave Filoni is aware of that issue when he's with shooting Ahsoka Season 2 for Disney Plus in London on location and on sound stages without the volume, and he might use that for his Star Wars feature film for theaters in 2029. But like, just fix the color grading and cinematography just so I can have a peace of mind. And finally, yeah, that's it. I would say something else regarding making hand-drawn animated films for theaters again. Specifically, I know you're trying to get Gen Z audiences back in theaters, and I think the only way to do that, especially for the males, is if your first hand-drawn animated film for theaters is a Hercules sequel for a theatrical release in 2032 for the original Hercules' 35th anniversary, Hercules 2, War of the Trojan Army, since that would really fit for IMAX screens for the action sequences and everything, but I'll leave you that to decide another day. So all in all, I just hope that you can give Gatto a better release date for Memorial Day weekend 2027, move Hoppers back by a week to give it IMAX screens and it can be number one, and just move Star Wars Starfighter to July 2027 so it can have more time to be marketed and maybe come out in a better release date weekend than Memorial Day weekend, which I think should go to Pixar's Gatto. So just keep that in mind, and I hope you can get things done well. Thank you.